This is why you are repelling actual, true, genuine, conscious, masculine men. So I want to start off with the number one trait that I see so many people forgetting to talk about, or honestly, they probably don't know. I didn't know it myself. I was embodying it for years and I thought I was wrong for it. And this happens to so many women, so I want to start with this, is that you're not truly embodying divine feminine love. True divine feminine energy and the feminine essence in general is the embodiment of love, is being open to continuing to be love. And I know this can sound really cheesy, or this honestly would have pissed me off even a few months ago, hearing this and being like, wow, that sounds absolutely ridiculous, right? But as I come back to it and as I allow myself to finally embody this again after literal years of shells, right? Like we put these masculine shells on ourselves, and even I like to call level 1 polarity teachings that are all about these tactics to get men to do this and get what you want. It's just adding more shells on top of you that are truly blocking this radiance of feminine love from you, because that's what you are. If you are in your feminine essence, right? If you're a divine feminine woman. And so this is going to absolutely repel truly conscious, divine masculine men who are especially on their own masculine spiritual path, and they're very, maybe not even consciously aware that this is what they desire, but their taste has changed. This is kind of the way I like to look at it, as our standards as women raised in men, we're obviously not attracted to certain character traits or like certain behaviors in men anymore when they're not masculine, for example, or they're not willing to provide, or any of those things that you're no longer attracted to a man if he's not wanting to bring that energy to the relationship. Well, this happens to men too, especially as they go through their spiritual path and their self-improvement and their, leveling up in their own way, in their own path. And the more they pursue their purpose, the less tolerance and desire that they have just for any woman. They desire a woman who is not closed off anymore, who is willing to reopen herself or already be open to being love herself. That's what they want to experience. And number 2, I'll go into this in a second, much more in depth, but they are more focused on their purpose and their goals and, achieving their divine path in life, which is their purpose. You don't want to be with a man who is living outside of their purpose. It's, I almost want to say traumatizing. It's just numbing. It's a life of avoidance. It's frustrating, I think is the right word to say. And unfortunately, a majority of the men out there are living like this. And that's okay. You don't have to engage with them. You are allowed to reopen yourself back up and attract men who are more conscious of this, more conscious of, their purpose, more conscious of the fact that they desire a feminine woman and they know what it takes on their side to earn that, to deserve that in a way. So once a man has, like I just said, reached a certain level of masculinity, like true masculinity, not this performative masculinity of just earning money. That's great. Obviously, we love whenever men are able to take control of their purpose, reach goals, and earn money. But it's a different type of masculine. It's a divine masculine. It's like this deep conscious masculine. which is so much more. If you haven't watched my video, Men Providing is Basic, I think is what it's titled. Definitely go watch that, and I go so much more into depth in that there, so I won't go into it here. But conscious masculine men do not want this level 1 polarity of what women are thinking they're bringing to the table as their feminine essence. But in reality, it is these manipulation tactics, which is just going to attract, as I've said before, the exact mirror or the reciprocal of the men who are also doing these tactics. The men who are seeing feminine and masculine energy is very transactional, as if, you know, you should be masculine in order to get this certain behavior from women. And that's exactly what women are doing too. That's exactly what these feminine teachings at this level 1 stage of polarity are teaching. And maybe that makes you happy, maybe that works for some people, but for me, it was very empty. It was very hollow. It was like, it didn't actually make me happy. And I will make a whole other video on that too. So let me keep this one a little bit on topic. But that is, you know, you're just going to attract the Andrew Tate sort of men, or the like fake alpha men. I hate to just use one person as an example there, but I don't really know the names of the other ones, you know, who are coming on the social media, absolutely undisciplined sexual energy, and then spouting that women should be a certain way and respond to them a certain way when they haven't done the spiritual work to actually get there and deserve it. So number 2, and this is something that I know is, you know, in this new generation of women, even women older than myself, we have been conditioned to believe that men should care about the relationship and about love and about us more. Now, this is going to sound wrong whenever I first say it, so let me explain. But we're thinking that they should, and we're looking for the fact that they should care more about love and about the relationship and all of that more than they care about their purpose and their like masculine purpose. This does not mean that they should prioritize overworking, avoiding, staying in this cycle of workaholism when they're not in their divine masculine energy and they're just doing it to avoid being present. That's a very, very different scenario, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the men who are in their conscious masculine energy, and they have this drive and purpose in life. And naturally, the masculine energy, if it's in a healthy state, is going to prioritize that over love. The feminine, this is the polarity here that people don't want to talk about or accept, because it can be a bit uncomfortable and it can make us feel unimportant as women, because if we don't understand this. In our feminine essence and in our feminine energy, we are going to prioritize relationship and love. With all of the shields down, the masculine programming, like just imagine somebody wiped your slate clean of all of the masculine programming and conditioning that you have been indoctrinated into, brainwashed into, the fact that you have been made to believe that if you're a feminine woman, you should still prioritize or it will make you happier to prioritize your career and your your financial aspirations or whatever. All of that brainwashing aside, go back to what you truly desired, even maybe when you were younger. And I know for me, without all of this programming, it was relationship and love, and to be able to embody that myself. Although, of course, I didn't know how to put it into these words at the time. But one issue I see in why women really do repel these masculine men, or maybe they attract them, but then they aren't understanding this in the relationship and they're still feeling like they shouldn't be happy with this. But you're expecting masculine men whose priority will be on their masculine path, their purpose, to chase after you. This is very different than pursuing. Chasing is not pursuing. That's where we get it confused, right? We want men obsessed over us. We want men chasing after us. We want to play games. We want to play hard to get. We want to go, or we're being told to go set up our schedules and fake hobbies almost. Like, I don't want to say fake, but go get out of the house and do things that, maybe we initially didn't even want to do in order to have our man chasing us. And that's not actually the healthy masculine and feminine dynamic. Pursuing is different than chasing. Chasing and having a man obsessed with you means that he is actually prioritizing the love and relationship more than you are. And that automatically puts you into you in your masculine and him in his feminine. And then you don't have a masculine man anymore. This is something people don't want to talk about, because something about our current ego as women really thrives off of this, like, what people want to call dark feminine energy and having men chasing after you and stuff like that. But if you want a truly polarized relationship that is not devoid of actual love and actual connection, you don't want that dynamic. And if he's more obsessed over focusing on you, what you're doing all the time, your relationship, like, do you still love me, all that sort of stuff, he's in his feminine energy. He's not going to be putting most of his energy and his masculine essence, I guess you could say, I've never heard someone say masculine essence, but his masculine energy towards his purpose. And that will result in a man who eventually is resentful, wants to avoid, a man who cannot be present with you, cannot be conscious with you, cannot truly love you in his depth. I'm going to explain this so much more also in another video. I have so many videos planned. I mean, literally like pages. So if this doesn't make sense yet, just wait and I will explain it more. But think about the men who are, like, let me just put this into perspective for you. So think about the men, like, you see these Instagram models, or maybe like girls on TikTok dancing, stuff like that. Like, just pictures of women on the internet. And if you go under any of these, you will see all of these comments from men, like from men's accounts, and they almost look like bot comments. Like a bot literally went and commented them, because they're just like so basic, and they're like appreciating her beauty or whatever, right? These are what I guess people would call simps, and these men are like taken over by the feminine energy in a way that has this influence over them. I think I talked about this also in another video, but they haven't cultivated that masculine discipline over their sexual energy, first of all. So that's kind of a red flag. But what I'm saying in this context is that those are the men who are like chasing after women. Like, that's an example of that energy. And we laugh at it, we cringe at it, but it's kind of the same dynamic whenever you're expecting a man to chase after you over his purpose. Now, like I said, pursuing is different. Obviously, he needs to desire you, and you be the one that he is committing to, and like, that's his choice, right? You're not manipulating him into that. That's very different. That is being pursued. But being pursued is not having this energy of like bot commenters simping over you, or like continuously texting you day after day, and you're like playing hard to get and don't respond and all that. That's bullshit. And honestly, divine masculine men are not going to respond to that, and that's not how they behave. They have shit to do. Like, they have a purpose to fulfill, because they're aware that if they don't do that, they're life will be incomplete. They won't be able to give the type of love and presence and conscious, polarity that a relationship deserves to the woman that they desire to give it to. That's what's so important here. And honestly, in this dynamic too, like I said, it does kind of put you into your masculine energy and then him into the feminine in that degree. I know we say the masculine chases, but I'm going to have to find a better way to put this here, but it's just not accurate in this context, because it's not like healthy. You can call it polarized, but it's not like, polarity does not equal healthy. That polarity does not equal love. Love, or polarity without love, is manipulation. And so what happens here is that, it kind of puts the whole relationship dynamic into a perspective of, you don't really respect him if he's chasing after you and you're not replying to him, and that scenario, like, you don't respect him. You see yourself as above him. And that's a whole different journey to work through as well. But this is where, the polarity and love and respect and the true divine masculine and divine feminine coming together to create that like discipline of polarity, and that sexual energy is not actually going to happen. So moving on to the third thing, the third reason that I truly see that so many women are struggling to attract a masculine man who's like very present in his, divine masculine energy, in his purpose, is that you don't actually want their true masculine gift. You don't actually want it. What is their true masculine gift? Because you're probably thinking, oh, it's providing or whatever, like I want that. Yes, that is a like small percentage of what the true divine masculine brings to the table, you could say. That's a very small percentage. I'm, like I say every video, I'm provided for. I believe that most women are, I believe the polarity, the genuine polarity, like even the love-filled polarity, is so much more attainable if the woman is financially provided for. I do believe that. That's one of my, core beliefs of a relationship. So I would not settle for anything less than this. But the thing is, like I've said before, this is not the highest standard. This is not something that is the top tier standard that you should aspire for in the relationship. Should it be part of it? I believe so. I believe that the feminine will thrive when she's provided for and she feels this like trust and integrity with the masculine energy, for sure. But the actual majority, let's say, of the gift that the divine masculine brings is his masculine presence. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but this masculine presence is what is like his side of things, where I say, we bring the divine feminine love. I don't even like to say bring. This is just the polarity. This is just the polarity whenever it has love involved in it. It's not just you bring the feminine energy, whatever that even means, right? And then he brings the masculine safety and container and money. No. This is full masculine presence. His ability to sit with you and see you as love. And see you in your full, like, feminine depth. And it goes so much deeper than this, too. Like, this really only scratches the surface. But in reality, this is what the feminine energy craves. This is what the feminine energy craves. And if you're sitting here like, no, like, that's not true. All I want is provision and him to spoil me and da-da-da-da. Be real with yourself. All that's nice, of course. We love that. But without the masculine presence there and him fully seeing you, all of that provision and, material things are going to feel absolutely empty and just devoid of any sort of true connection in that polarity. You might be polarized, fulfilling these very bland masculine and feminine roles, doing your little manipulation tactics, doing the little things that you're taught to inspire a man's action to do this, but none of it is going to truly inspire his devotion to you and his connection and presence other than divine feminine love. This is probably very, very triggering to a lot of people because so many of us, unfortunately, have been hurt, right? Like hurt in relationships, abused. We have trauma surrounding this that is literally stuck in our bodies for years. We have completely smothered the desire that we even have for this and replaced it with wanting to achieve in our masculine, wanting to reach these goals, taking this independent control of our life, when in reality, that still doesn't feel good either. And so eventually you get to a point where, that's not satisfying. Half-assed relationships that are still apparently polarized, where I'm being provided for, is still not satisfying. And then you get to a point where you're just like, is something fucking wrong with me? And no, nothing is wrong with you. The only thing wrong here is the fact that you are neglecting your true desire at your core of your feminine energy, which is to be love and allow yourself to surrender to divine masculine man who is sexually disciplined, integral, and in his masculine purpose. That is the deep desire here. And so none of the other stuff will be fulfilling. I'm telling you from experience. I'm telling you from experience. It won't be. And honestly, if you're on my email list, you've already read this about a week or so ago. But honestly, like, trying to, my relationship with my husband, it started off with this deep polarized love. We didn't even know this information. I mean, I knew feminine energy a little bit, right? What we have shallowly been taught. I knew that, and I knew that he was a masculine man. But what happened was that I started to get into these more manipulative teachings of polarity. And what we're being taught is that this is like deeper than love, that this matters more, that these things are like exactly how you are going to get what you want, how you're going to take control of your life, how you are going to create the relationship that you desire, how you're going to completely change and level up through this polarity. And unfortunately, this is putting you into your masculine energy. It just looks different. This is the exact same trajectory and path of being the independent woman who rejects love and puts her career and accomplishments and like striving towards things first, while also completely severing the connection to her true divine feminine essence. When we put these polarity tactics above love, we are setting ourselves up to settle for masculine men who have also cut themselves off from their purpose and their true divine masculine spiritual path, from their form of love. I don't know if I can really differentiate that well there, but that's the kind of men we'll attract, not men in their purpose, men who are avoidant, men who are not disciplined. And so the way I kind of like to put this is, we can accept, like, sure, you can do all those things and settle for good enough and safe, maybe getting what you want, right? Getting provided for, getting some material things, maybe getting some money from a man. Awesome. I hope that fulfills you and makes you happy if that's what you desire to do. But I know deep down for so many of us, even if we're not willing to admit it yet, maybe you're going to come back to this video in 6 months, in 2 years, and be like, oh, yeah, I desired more than that. After being provided for that amount of time, and then you realize, obviously, I can have both. Like, they kind of go not hand in hand, but if you're with a divine masculine man who's in his purpose, it's unlikely that he's going to be in a financial position that has not rewarded him for his hard work that would at least be able to provide the basics for you. So that's not what I'm saying here. Like, sacrifice being provided for and just focus on this. I mean, I personally wouldn't feel safe in my relationship if I was not provided for. So that's not what I'm saying at all. But the way I like to say it is like, okay, you can go to the grocery store and believe that you're eating healthy through buying fruit and vegetables and meat, right? But in reality, those meats are injected with hormones. They are from animals that have been raised in captivity and abused, and the meat doesn't have good energy. The vegetables are literally sprayed with like carcinogens, and you can't get them off because they're grown in it and it's infused into them. So even when you believe you're making the healthier choice of these masculine men who you're attracting through these polarity tactics, you're getting that sort of meat, that sort of vegetables and fruits. But then when you realize, oh, there's an even higher quality, right? There's like a higher quality of my own feminine energy. There's a higher quality of divine masculine man that it's like my birthright to experience in my life. Then you start to opt for, and I know I'm making like a food analogy here, but you start to opt for the grass-fed, pasture-raised, like non-hormone injected meat that's healthy. And it was raised in an environment where like they cared for the animals, and there's this good energy in that meat. It's very nourishing, and you're not putting even more BS into your body, or the fruits that aren't sprayed with pesticides and all of that. And so then you start to put that into your body and notice how much better that you feel. This is also what happens whenever you decide to upgrade from the pesticide sort of masculine energy, or your own toxic, honestly, sort of fake healthy feminine energy that you are probably frustrated with, that, you know, even though it is working for you, it's not fulfilling you. And so when you move into, yes, give me that like nourishing, like let me reopen up to the true like feminine essence of love, and I get to experience that in myself, but I also get to experience that in this, you know, polarity within your relationship, within your marriage, of this conscious divine masculine man who is truly in his purpose. Like that combination, that's unmatched. That's unmatched. That's the highest standards that you should be aspiring to. That's what you get to have. You get to be provided for, and that, right? And so I answered this question on my Instagram a little while ago, but there's, you know, I get the question a lot because a lot of women who watch my channel are in their 20s like me, and they ask me, you know, if a lot of channels will recommend that women date much older men in order to be provided for even. My husband's the same age as me. I'm provided for. And he is, you know, disciplined and in his purpose and following his purpose in this way. And so what I like to tell women is that, honestly, okay, this is just my this is what I've seen. I have seen more men who are around my age, 26, 27. I've seen more men in their purpose who have like sort of tapped into this information, this deeper level of masculine energy, who are, you know, even between my age, and I'm sure there are older men who are doing this too, of course, but who are between my age and like 35. And, you know, even though they may just be starting out or they're just building their business, they're making definitely enough money to provide. And they're I don't even want to say willing to, they desire to give in that way. Whereas there are a lot of older men that, you know, I have come into contact with, I have had friends dating them, and they are completely avoidant of their spiritual path, completely not in their purpose, even if they've been in a job for a few years and they have that financial security of money. They're not able to be present with you, right? They're not disciplined over their sexual energy. They're not like in that divine masculine energy. So I would much rather be with a younger man. I mean, not like younger than myself. I probably would not do that. Of course, I'm like married now, but I would much rather be with a man closer to my age who is in his purpose than just going for an older man to increase the odds of me being provided for. I think that's a bit of a scarcity mindset from my experience and from what I've seen. So that's just my opinion. But, you know, obviously do what works for you. I'm not against that either. I'm just more focused on women really being able to open themselves up, be in a relationship, in a trusting relationship with a man who's in his integrity, in his purpose, and driven, than I am just for a woman to meet a man who can give her material things. I think that is can be devoid of the true connection and polarity between the masculine and the feminine. So that kind of concludes my video for today. But right now, I believe as this video is going live, I'm having a 20% off sale because I just had my birthday on January 11th and I want to be able to, you know, just share the celebration with you. And so all of my courses are 20% off for a few days. I'll list the dates below, but I'm so excited and definitely take advantage of this. If you really, really resonated with this video in particular or my past few videos that I've posted, highly recommend the courses Good Girl Rehab or my upcoming course, The Divine Feminine Path. Those are very much focused on what we're talking about now. So I would highly recommend getting into one of those two. If you're, you know, wondering where to start, the Feminine Foundation is also very good, but it is a bit older, so it's not as spiritually focused. It's still a great place to start to regulate that nervous system, because without a regulated nervous system and a feeling of safety in your body, and, you know, not having that adrenaline reaction, like not having that sense of fight or flight all the time, of survival, opening back up to love is not an option for your body. So I find that very important. I think if you're sitting here listening to this and you're kind of struggling with that, and you're struggling with feeling like there's no way I can open to love again, like I've been hurt, re-regulating or just regulating in general your nervous system is the place to start. So, you know, whether that be through meditation and journaling alone, or if you want to take one of my courses on that, highly recommend just starting there, like literally starting with 5 minutes a day of meditating or doing things that calm yourself and allow yourself to know that you're safe. Start there. That is the best place to start. My courses do always involve that as well, but you know, you can start that alone. You don't need that either. So I'm very excited. All the details will be below on the sale, and I will see you in the next video.